I mean, I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. It's just that I'm rearranging the elements of an idea, an old idea, and that's where the new membrane of intellectual sensitivity, or not. No, that's where the intellectual sensitivity is being pressed and pierced in a different spot. You know, what's been piercing has always been the same. I'm mixing my metaphors now, aren't I? I should probably start from the beginning. I'll start from the top. So, okay, free will, right? It's bunk. The entire concept, disproven. The entirety of this universe follows these rules of equilibrium and causality, and even if, parallel universes exist which don't adhere to these laws, whatever. This universe does, and I mean, there are those holdouts who try to use quantum uncertainty to say that this gives them free will, but I don't know, without observation, our actions are unknown, but at this point, those arguments feel like straw grasping. I mean, that's a bit of a leap between itty-bitty particles up to our decision whether or not to Ted Bundy someone. So yeah, honestly, as of this point, as far as I'm concerned, it's bunk. And I mean, I'm not the only one. I'm not the first to be saying this. Scholars all over, scientists, they all disregard that narcissistic notion. But has that changed anything? Well, no. Sorry if you're going to answer that, but imagine that world where free will wasn't even a pretense. Where it isn't the center of all our, human ideals and concepts. I mean, what would happen to legality or government or any sort of moral or philosophical institution? Or art, or how we, live our lives from day to day? So much of our evolutionary process, right down to how we breathe, has been dependent on the free will concept. Hell, if we really did switch gears after we had debunked it, we might have been speaking an entirely different language right now. That's how fundamental it is, but we're not, and nothing's different, so why is that? I'll answer that again, sorry. Because of the persistence of illusions is why, well, mostly, anyway. Free will is such a persistent illusion, cause and effect by our hands, It seems tangible. It's bolstered by that other great illusion of time, and well, that's a whole other bag of cans of worms. But more than anything, free will fuels another illusion we so cling to, the illusionary question of the meaning of life. See, these are the only two options we've really worked with, and you'd think they're antithetical, but they're not. They're both illusions that balance one another, but that doesn't make them opposing, because if there's a meaning to human life, then it implicates a grand design, and then you'd have machinations like fate and destiny, which, I mean, what's the difference between them? Anyway, alright. So, yeah. So if there isn't any grand design, then that means we as humans have freewheeling over our actions, right? Or did we forget part one of that little diatribe? Well, see, the illusion of singularity is also present, that things are separate from one another. Like if you hold a rock in each hand, you're not actually holding two objects. You're holding trillions of atoms and infinite particles within those atoms, in each of those hands. And it's not an atomically structural thing. Singularity of objects is based entirely off of our senses, off what we perceive. Like how you perceive me sitting here talking to you when actually you're perceiving trillions of atoms and ad infinitum of particles. No, don't tune out. I'm not trying to get Nietzschean on you or Dr. Manhattanian. I'm just attacking the beast from another side, trying to pierce that membrane of intellectual sensitivity from another direction. Because now we have room for another all-encompassing, all-elusive question. Now we can replace it. The question is no longer, what is the meaning of life? But instead the question that must be asked is, what is the purpose of the universe? Now I've got your attention. Yeah. Just as much as the other stuff spat out in the spiel, I'm not the first to ask this, and I'm probably not the first to apply it to these contexts, and I'm probably not the first to put forward an answer. Yeah, that's right, I'm going to provide an answer, and you won't even have to tune in next week to find out. You will have to keep your hands off that dial, because I'm going to provide a bit of context first. I've been mentioning that a lot, haven't I? Context? Well, Well, yeah, you know, it's important. You ask what's 2 plus 2, and I'll answer 4, but without the context of counting your fingers in preschool, all 2 and 2 and 4 are would be ciphers. You know, answers without context can be dangerous things. To assume all you need is the answer is to assume you already have context. Man, isn't that ironic? Is it ironic? Well, still, you know, it's funny. I could provide you with such a grand, all-encompassing answer, and without context, it's meaningless. In this case, the context would be your day-to-day life or anyone's, and isn't that the point to all this navel-gazing, all this star-watching and experimenting and books on these grand ideas? Isn't the point of all that to be able to apply it to our lives down here on Earth? So, I'll give you an answer and then give you the context by which to use that answer. The purpose of the universe is to be constantly approaching but never achieving equilibrium. Well, now what does that mean? Well, in terms of particle... infinite... Anna, what is that word? Can we stop for a minute?
Cut. Sam, go fix those lights.
Anna, goddammit, I can't read the stupid prompt.
Infinitesimality.
Infinitesimality? What even is that? What does that even mean?
Whatever, let's just start again.
No, if I don't understand the words that I'm saying, then the people who are watching aren't going to understand.
So you're understanding everything else you talked about, hmm? Actor ready? Crew ready? Quiet on set.